Currently, I'm on holiday in the Swiss mountains, so this tech video is a hoax. Well, have fun, future me. No matter, because this video will talk about tech. In all my previous projects, I've always used the game engine called Unity. And I always really liked working with it, and it even got better and better in time. Until a few years ago, when they introduced something called the Renderpipelines. I'll save bashing on these render pipelines for another video, but in short, there are 4 options. The first option you have is using the deprecated old-fashioned built-in render pipeline. This is for people who really don't like change. The second option you have is to use the universal render pipeline, URP in short, which is for projects that are meant for a wider range of platforms, as the performance of URP is great for older or slow hardware. Thirdly, there's the high definition render pipeline, or HDRP in short. This render pipeline is total crap and should never ever be used. I'm not saying that HDRP is what killed City Skylines 2, but... And lastly, you can build your own render pipeline.
And I wouldn't know anyone who would use this instead of just
using another engine. However, one big plus of HDRP and URP is that you can grab the source and easily edit it to your liking. Then you can call it your own render pipeline, I guess. In the past, I always used the built-in render pipeline because I was afraid that URP and HDRP were a big buggy mess, which is true. But in 2023, URP got a whole lot of new extra attention and new performance tricks. So I think in 2024, it's the way to go for a new project to go with URP. So let's go over the plugins that I will be using for Cyberdam. And not only for Cyberdam, but I think these plugins are project critical plugins any project should use. Now keep in mind, I do not own or am affiliated with these plugins in any way. I just really like them as a developer. The first plugin is called Dynamic Bones. Now this tool is epic. Originally, I think it has been developed for boob physics, but the tool has progressed so much further. Now it can easily be used to create hair physics and stuff like that. Next up is a tool called Mesh Combine Studio. In games you have draw calls. Each object in the scene adds to the amount of draw calls. For simplification's sake, the rules are: the more draw calls you have, the harder your PC has to work and the worse the performance will be. Of course, there are way more variables when talking about performance or optimization, but we'll save those for a later video. This tool is one of the easiest tools to combine all the draw calls that can be combined, saving epic amount of time for level designers in optimizing their environments and massively reducing draw calls. I've seen projects go from 40 FPS to 120. So for open world games, you don't want to render the whole scene all the time. Remember those draw calls. Another plugin that I think is critical to have in a big open world environment is Amplify Impostors. This plugin creates a few screenshots of a 3D object, and then instead of rendering the whole 3D object in the distance, you can render a lower resolution fake object, which is way more performant. The next plugin is not a critical plugin for any project. I just really like to use it for Cyberdam. CityGen 3D you can use to create a simplified version of any real-world environment using only GPS data. In Cyberdam, I want to use my hometown Zeist as the playground for Ivy to shake things up. I live in Zeist and I think it's a really boring city. It's not even a city, it's a village. It's a big village. So just with a few simple clicks, I can load in Zeist as a template to use as a start for developing my level. Disclaimer: the next plugin is made by me and I'm selling them in the asset store, so I'm biased, but I still think you should use them. Imagine Let's say your native resolution of your screen is 1080p. It takes a GPU a certain time to render the whole game for this resolution. If you lower the resolution to say 360p, 3 times 1080p, the time it takes the GPU to render the whole scene is significantly less. So what an upscaler does, it allows you to render your game on the 360p resolution and then upscale it to 1080p, but make it look good again. There are quite a few upscaling algorithms out there, but I use two of them, FSR3 and DLSS. DLSS will only run on Windows computers that have an NVIDIA RTX graphics card. So when you want to publish a game on another platform, or if someone doesn't have a very expensive NVIDIA RTX graphics card, I make the project fall back automatically to FSR3. FSR3 is developed by AMD and it works on almost any platform and almost any hardware. So this is great. One downside of these assets is that in Unity it's difficult to make full use of your GPU. If a game is not fully utilizing the GPU, then upscaling will not give you any extra performance. So this is why it's crucial to always first optimize the CPU side. This is the starting setup of Cyberdam. In next week's video, I'll start working on the very first steps of the level design. And in the following tech video next month, I'll go over my level streaming system for open world environments. Don't make me ask for it. And see you next week.